I wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody know the soil so fertile. If a man sit down naked, the seeds might grow. A delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One is you I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep fucking it out the root. Make country flowers in it, fuck it up. Make country produce in it, fuck it up. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say he saw a man resembling one of the politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who fucking up me country. Riding on me donkey, transportation bliss. Me fireside bubbling a goodie. I hear rioting in the gas crisis. Surrounded by wild animals. What a vicious pack. But none of them does launch an attack. None of them poison us like invert and sap. The hunt always on, I could say that much. And true, can switch it off like crime watch. My mission now is to put a stop to whosoever fucking me country up. Some say a man named Eric, George, Robbie and Patrick. Some say Capildeo, Addis, Kamla, Basteo. Old man Bedu said this ain't nothing new. They fucking up long before 1962. If Wattley was around, he might have tell we directly who fucking up me country.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Rebuttal. I'm Douglas Wattley, your host, and as always, I am pleased to have you in the listening audience. If you are listening in from St. Kitts and Nevis, I say welcome. If you are listening from the St. Kitts and Nevis diaspora, I say a special welcome. Now, I'm aware that some of you last week had difficulty hearing the show. I'm told that's because the station had a problem with its transmitters, and that was because of the rain. So some of you were unlucky you didn't hear the show last week. But you are aware that we repeat the show on Sunday night, and also that you could find the show on YouTube. Or you could ask someone to forward the show to you. I usually get the show from the engineer, and persons who didn't hear it would ask for it, and I would forward it to them. This evening, we are going to talk a little bit of politics as usual. But before we do so, I just want to say that I just want to say that the pious in the White House done gone and get himself impeached again. He's always wanted to distinguish himself from Obama, and I think one impeachment would have been enough, but now he has gone and made history. He has been impeached a second time. No one but he has achieved that feat, and I don't think that's a record that would ever be broken. So if he wanted to be in the history books, he is now in the history books. So this evening, we're going to chit-chat a little bit about the state of politics in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm sure that you all notice that Timor is targeting Nevis all of a sudden. All of a sudden, he has developed a healthy interest in Nevis at the expense of Mark Brantley, no doubt. Tim needs Nevis now. He needs them now on his side. But he does not necessarily need Mark on his side. You see, as it turns out in the last election, whereas Mark had initially thought that he would be the kingmaker, it didn't happen that way. Yes, he won 3 seats, but the 3 seats didn't matter, because in St. Kitts, the people in number 2 and number 3 voted for the People's Action Movement and PLP respectively. And so even though PAM lost in number 1, they lost in number 1 in name only, because technically Patches was PLP. And so PAM essentially did not lose any ground. You see, Tim is a political animal, you know. He is power hungry, but he's a power hungry political animal. He is corrupt, but he's a corrupt political animal. He loves power, and he wants to remain in power. And he would do all within his power to retain power. You see, the problem that Tim has right now is that he made 2 promises which he is now regretting. And if I know him, he is trying to figure out how to remain relevant so that he may undo the promises that he made. Remember that I have always said that time is longer than twine. The first promise Tim made, which he is already regretting, is that he will give up the prime ministership after 2 terms. But he will only do so within the context of team unity. You with me? And so if there is no team unity, but that there is a coalition, Tim would still want to retain prime ministership, because then he would see himself as the kingmaker. You see, Tim is now realizing that time does not stand still, and a second term will soon come to an end. Some of us not going to be around. We understand that. We die every day. You understand? But, you see, Tim and them believe that they alone will stay alive. And so he would want not to be out of power at the end of the second term. Now, the second promise that Tim made is kind of like the first one, only that it is more time sensitive. Because Tim, I'm told, made a promise to give up the prime ministership midway through this term to Sean. That is after 3 years. That is 2023. Those who are in the know, who tell me these things, say that the promise was actually made. Now, your guess is as good as mine. One, if Tim will keep that promise, and if he doesn't, what would be the repercussions? Because you see, there could be a team unity if Tim withdraw himself, or if he withdraw himself and Aquila. There would still be a team unity. They would have enough to stay in power. So your guess is as good as mine as what is going to happen. And so Tim right now has begun to have palpitations because he recognizes that time is moving rather quickly. And the question is, what obtains in 2023? Now that specific promise to vacate the prime ministership in 2023, as I just said, is causing him great stress. And it is stressful in part because his siblings are the ones feeling stressed. They are stressed about the eventuality that Tim won't be prime minister for much longer, and they would be stripped of the power that they believe they have, because somebody else would be calling the shots, and a new set of persons would be lining up for patronage from whomever is the new prime minister. They say Sean, but I'm not sure that they understand how a prime minister is named. If you all think, however, that any of those promises will be kept by Tim, you all got another thing coming. If you all think that those promises are promises that Tim wants to or intends to keep, you don't know the man. And worse yet, you don't know his brother. That is where the scheming, plotting, and betraying of others come in. The brother. The political scene in St. Kitts and Nevis at this moment is hard to understand. So I'm going to go through it a little bit and basically tell you why I find it difficult to understand the political scene at this point in time. You may have a better view of it than I do, but I'm telling you how I see it. Now consider this. Labour, in my mind, is in flux. I don't know what's happening. And most onlookers don't know what's happening. And a lot of insiders don't seem to know what's happening. Labour has to determine its internal goings on, its internal operation, and it must determine its candidates and particularly any leadership issues that it's likely to have come a next election. I believe that because those things are not yet decided, Labour is not in as strong a position as it should be at this point in time. Labour lost some ground in the last election. We know that. It lost number 2 and it lost number 3. Even if you thought they could lose number 2, you didn't think they could lose number 3. And it's anybody's guess how and whether Labour can regain those seats in the next election. Labour is in a position, however, in my estimation, to regain some strength, but not necessarily considering 2 or 3. If Labour could regain its past glory in number 2 or number 3 or both, Labour would be sitting relatively pretty. Because I can tell you this, in my estimation, Labour could win 4 seats in an election called anytime soon. Labour could win number 1, Labour could win number 4, Labour could win number 6, and Labour could win number 8. Yes, I still have confidence that Labour, Dr. Drew, can win number 8. Having said all that, I still believe Labour needs to keep its house in order. This government should be relatively unpopular at this point in time, because it's not a government that has demonstrated an ability to look after the country and to take care of its people in a time of difficulty. Sure, the country fared well with regards to the COVID-19. But too many persons are out of work right now. And far too many persons who should have gotten severance by now have not gotten it. And the government has not taken any positive step to correct that problem. The government can guarantee $31 million for criminals to prevent them from killing one another, but it cannot provide the same amount of money to pay law-abiding citizens, people who dedicated themselves to look after their family all these years, can't pay them the severance and can't pay those who they have paid all the money on time. And so right now you have more than 1,000 people in St. Kitts and Nevis who have yet to get severance, and then a large number of persons, nearly another 1,000, who have gotten only partial payment. And so we know people who were supposed to get good money, maybe $90,000, $100,000, and the government only give them, say, $20,000. Say they were scumming, but you can't tell them when. You illegally borrowing money from them because they should have gotten all their money so that they could put their money to work for them in a financial institution, and they would be the one to be getting an interest. Government has their money, and government ain't giving it up. And so in my estimation, I cannot see how them people there could still support the government. But we always get what we want. And so if you want that, you vote for it. But you well know that under a Labour government, that wasn't going to happen. You well know you would have got your money. And you well know that the Labour government would have found ways to give you more money. Because the Labour government understands the economy, understands that consumption is what drives the economy. And so the Labour government, and let's face it, they promised you in their manifesto that had they won, that would have been their approach. They would have put money in your pocket because they know you're going to spend it. And when you spend it, to keep the engine of the economy turning over. And it means that the economic growth would expand, and it means that you would get out of this doldrum, this gutter, sooner. Under the present scenario, this country is going to be in a gutter for the next 5 to 10 years unless you change leadership. Think about it. I believe personally, that income are going to be down this year. Think about it. In 2020, the government said it made something in the region of maybe 81 million in corporate income tax. Corporate income tax. The year before, I think it made about 85 million in corporate income tax. But understand this, the 85 million from 2019 reflected what was made in 2018. The 81 million from 2020 reflected what was made in 2019. You follow what I'm getting at? So whatever money you are supposed to make from corporate income in 2021 would reflect the business that was done by corporations in 2020. What happened in 2020? We had COVID-19. So what happened more than likely to corporate income in 2020? It was down. So what do you expect to collect in 2021? Less corporate income than you did in the 2 prior years. Y'all follow what I'm saying? And remember, the monies that you make in a particular year would reflect adjustment from the year before. So guess what? Corporations are going to err on the side of paying less in 2021 because they know that they could make the adjustment in 2022. And so we are going to see more difficulty in St. Kitts and Nevis. Consider this as well. It appears that passport sales are down and going to continue to decline in 2021. Those are 2 prime sources of revenue, of income for the country. And think about it. This government is not going to spend money it doesn't have. And it is not inclined to borrow. Because he don't abuse Douglas so much about borrowing that right now they're not wanting to borrow. But I've always said, if you're going to borrow, now is when you borrow. But think about it. If government revenue is down, it means government spending would be down. And if government spending is down, it means government consumption or public consumption is down. And since you ain't going to give civil servants no salary increase, And since you have stopped giving stimulus checks, it means that personal consumption is down. Those two, government consumption and personal consumption together, if I'm not mistaken, make up somewhere close to 70% of the economy. If that is down, the economy going to be dragging on the ground. Hardship will continue among certain families. Don't get me wrong. If you are paid by the public purse, if you are paid by government, you are right. And I don't want you all to think that because you are right, everybody all right. Because it's not like that. Be blessed. Feel blessed that you have a government job. Because government will tax the hell out of everybody to make sure that it has enough money not to lay off people. Because this government, more than any government, understands that if it does not lay off anybody, that it stands a better chance of winning the next election. You understand? And so right now, if you are paid by the public purse, hip hip hip, hooray. Even those of us who get pension, hip hip hip, hooray. But understand that there are more than 1,000 persons out there who voted for this government who are without jobs, can't get the severance to tide them over, can't get no job, and not getting any more stimulus. Some of them didn't even get in the first place. And so things are not as good as they should be in the country. And I want you all to understand that it doesn't have to be that way. I want you all to understand where to put the blame. You with me? Now, so I think that what's going to happen here with the politics is that Tim is going to try to extend the reach of his party, PLP. I say his party is the one he hijacked. Is the one whose money went missing. PLP and Team Unity have made him, that's Tim, and his siblings rich beyond imagination. Some friends and some supporters have also been made rich beyond their wildest dreams. Tim knows that he has reached the limit of the possible expansion of PLP in St. Kitts. St. Kitts can't grow no, and PLP can't grow no more in St. Kitts. Because for it to grow in St. Kitts, it means it has to take away from Pam. And so, Tim has now gone to Nevis because he thinks that the only place that he could expand is Nevis. Mark is therefore under assault in Nevis by Tim. I understand that Mark has already either lost or will lose the support of two of his key guys, Tim Keynes and Mervyn Hanley. I'm told that they will support Tim against Mark. Some people who know and follow them on Facebook tell me that their language is already in support of Tim. And it does not take a genius to figure out why that would be the case. It was no coincidence, that just after Mark made you all witness to an agreement, to the signing of an agreement to build a new hotel in Nevis. It was no coincidence that just after that, Tim found his way over to Nevis, with the cameras. You understand? His intent was to mitigate any praise that Mark would get for having signed an agreement for a new hotel. For one, if Mark make that come true, guess what? It makes Sankis look bad, make him look bad. Because in 5 years, they ain't signed diddly. There's no coincidence also that only about 100 of more than 700 persons in Nevis have been paid severance. Tim will blame it on Mark. So Mark is under siege. Tim has already started to build a relationship with the NRP. That is because Tim believes that Labour has forged a relationship with Mark and the CCM. Remember, politics make for strange bedfellows. Tim knows what he did to win the government from Douglas, Tim is aware that the same could happen to him. One of the big benefactors of NRP, a developer, I'm told, has already gotten some sugar from Tim. Tim has already sweetened his tea. Development is planned for St. Kitts. And so, if that's the case, it means that that particular developer must have promised him that he could deliver NRP's support to Tim. You all understand? And remember, Tim also has the ability to try and gerrymander the boundaries to benefit him in St. Kitts and to benefit NRP in Nevis. Tim will use the public purse to entice NRP and its supporters as much as possible. And it doesn't even have to be enticing the supporters. You just have to entice those that run the NRP. Put a little sweetening in the tea, a little sugar in the coffee. There is a reason that Nevis people can't get severance. Tim saving the money so that he could do some things for his cronies. You all understand what I'm saying? As it turns out, Tim believes that the way to expand is in Nevis. Previously, he didn't have to do that because CCM was firmly with Team Unity. And even if CCM is firmly with Team Unity, remember that what Tim is after is to remain as Prime Minister, not to be in a Team Unity government where he's not Prime Minister. And so it's not as appetizing to have CCM as part of his team, because he figure that even if CCM sides with PAM, that they would endorse somebody else for the prime ministership. I'm going to pause here And then when I come back, we're going to continue this same discussion because we've been going now for nearly 32 minutes or so. We're going to pause and then we'll come back and I'm going to finish out my discourse on the situation as I see it regarding the politics in St. Kitts and Nevis.
I love being in the latest style and dress fine, or should I say classy. That is why I shop at First Class next to the taxi stand at Port Sante for fine gold and silver jewelry in precious, semi-precious and colored stones, diamonds and crystal watches, and the hottest handbags and wallets. And when I want to buy a gift for someone, that's easy too. I just ask them to make me a gift basket, and First Class has the best prices at Port Sante. So no matter what the occasion, come on into First Class and leave happy, knowing you've gotten the best deal for your money. It's First Class at Port Sante, where quality, low prices, and top-notch service are second to none.
Spread the word. New and exclusive every Sunday from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Gospel Cafe with Carl D. Springate on KYSS FM 102.5. Tune in and connect with the Holy Ghost Connection with live interviews, Christian news, what's hot and what's not in the now. Birthdays and anniversary shout-outs available, Bible Jeopardy, Beyond the Pulpit, and positive entertainment and ministry. Testimonies and the pastor's moment with Spread the Word. So tune in as we drop the latest gospel hits, 100% flat. It's the Carl D. Springate Gospel Cafe, Sundays from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KYSSFMonline.com and 102.5 FM. And be blessed like that.
One fashion accessories for really low prices. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Beauty supplies and weave, genuine fragrances. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Handbags so beautiful, your friends will envy how you look. With perfume to smell your swag, you'll feel like you're in paradise. Watches, silver jewelry, and hair accessories. Check silver and cents in the Amri Mall on Deon Street.
Ready or not, hear my clothes, you can't hide. I'm gonna find you and make you want me.
Ain't nobody tell me nothing.
I'm Shaniel Francis. Kyssfm 102.5 is proud to announce its brand new morning show, Backchat, the only place to hear the hottest music.
I'm local.
Check the area code, the area code. Anywhere we go, you know me touch the
To international.
Ay, I go shopping, want it then I cop it. Ay, yeah, bitches popping, I do what they copy.
And have you informed with a range of topics.
So on Mondays to Fridays, tune in at 8 to 11.
You won't want to miss the vibes on
Backchat.
Ready or not, hear my clothes.
I wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody knows the soil so fertile. If a man sit down naked, the seeds might grow. A delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One issue I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep talking it out the root. Make country flowers in it, bark it up. Make country produce in it, bark it up. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say he saw a man resembling one of the politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who talking up me country.
Welcome back to the Rebuttal. I'm Douglas Wattley, your host. we had been talking about the political situation as it exists in St. Kitts, or as I observe it in St. Kitts at present. Now, where is Pam in all of this? Pam put itself in a relatively stronger position after the last election. I didn't see it coming, to be honest. But they put themselves in a relatively stronger position in the last election. They lost a seat, which was effectively a PLP seat, because Patches has always been PLP, but gained one, which was a relatively safe Labour seat, the one in number 2. Now, if Tim keeps his word, and I have strong doubts that he would, but if he keeps his word, or if he's forced to keep his word, Pam would have the Prime Ministership in 2023. And if that happens, one of the first things you would see happening is there would be a significant cabinet reshuffle to reflect the new reality, because Tim would not be able to exert the same level of power, have his people in the key position, if he is no longer the Prime Minister. Now, why do I say Pam would be in the seat of the Prime Ministership and not Sean? It is simple, because Tim does not and cannot pick the leader of Pam. And it is the leader of Pam that gets to be Prime Minister if Tim steps down. You understand? And so the powers behind the scene, if they want, they are still able to make Janelle leader of Pam. By virtue of you voting Janelle in, you have just whitewashed his sins, you know. And so you are no longer able to say, well, he cannot be Prime Minister, or he cannot be leader of the PAM, because he did this and he did that. You don't tell him it's okay. And let me remind you that there has always been a plan to have the DNA of Billy Herbert in the seat of the Prime Minister. And so you're going to have an interesting fight starting this year. Because when you see conventions come around, you're going to see people start to jockey to put certain people in certain key positions. Mark my word. I personally don't think that Sean will get to be Prime Minister. And I don't think that Sean is going to be in a position to say, well, then I have the type of support in number 5 that nobody has had. And so I would break away and team up with Tim. It would not amount to a hill of beans. And so he would have to stay put with Pam. You understand what I'm saying? And so in St. Kitts, you realize that anybody could become Prime Minister. Fraudsters, gangsters, and other corrupts, they could become Prime Minister. How does CCM factor into this? Mark is between a rock and a hard place. Mark is targeted by Tim. And Tim is going to try to do his best to make sure that Mark loses favor in Nevis. They say that Mark is the best politician in the region, right? So we're going to have to see him display that. There are a lot of people who think that he may have lost some ground after the last election because he didn't become prime minister. But it was always going to be a difficulty for him to become prime minister of a Team Unity entity with Tim in it. Right? It would have been easier if he were coalescing with Labour. Oh, and I hear the Labour people them now, no, we don't want that. You may have to get and take that, or else you may be in opposition much longer than you hoped. And so, if Mark can still win 3 in Nevis, or if he can win 2 in Nevis, he may still be valid in the scheme of things. All right? And so you have to watch that aspect in Nevis. All right? I'm going to pause here because that is what I wanted to present about the situation in St. Kitts. I'm just saying that a lot of people are waiting to see how Labour is going to rebuild, how Labour is going to revamp. And until that happens, I think that things are still up in the air. The sooner the better, because the sooner you do it, the easier people will take it over time. I'm not saying that it would be palatable to start with, but over time you would be able to convince people that whatever decisions you make about Labour are in the best interest of the party and the best interest of the country. All right? So I'm going to pause here, and then when I come back, we'll just close out this evening's show. All right?
I love being in the latest style and dress fine, or should I say classy. That is why I shop at First Class next to the taxi stand at Port Sante for fine gold and silver jewelry in precious, semi-precious and colored stones, diamonds and crystal watches, and the hottest handbags and wallets. And when I want to buy a gift for someone, that's easy too. I just ask them to make me a gift basket, and First Class has the best prices at Port Sante. So no matter what the occasion, come on into First Class and leave happy, knowing you've gotten the best deal for your money. It's First Class at Port Sante, where quality, low prices, and top-notch service are second to none.
Spread the word. New and exclusive every Sunday from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Gospel Cafe with Carl D. Springate on KYSS FM 102.5. Tune in and connect with the Holy Ghost Connection with live interviews, Christian news, what's hot and what's not, in the now. Birthdays and anniversary shout-outs available, Bible Jeopardy, Beyond the Pulpit, and positive entertainment and ministry. Testimonies and the pastor's moment with Spread the Word. So tune in as we drop the latest gospel hits, 100% black. It's the Carl D. Springate Gospel Cafe, Sundays from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KYSSFMonline.com and 102.5 FM. And be blessed like that.
One fashion accessories for really low prices. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Beauty supplies and weave, genuine fragrances. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Handbags so beautiful, your friends will envy how you look. With perfume to smell just right, you feel like you're in paradise. Watches, silver jewelry, and hair accessories. Check silver and cents in the Apri Mall on Deon Street.
Ready or not, hear my clothes, can't hide. I'm gonna find you and make you one thing.
Ain't nobody tell me nothing. Can't tell me nothing.
I'm Shaniel Francis. Kyssfm 102.5 is proud to announce its brand new morning show, Backchat, the only place to hear the hottest music.
I'm local.
To international.
Ay, I go shopping, want it then I cop it. Ay, yeah, bitches popping, I do what they copy.
And have you informed with a range of topics.
So on Mondays to Fridays, tune in at 8 to 11.
You won't want to miss the vibes on
Back Chat.
Ready or not, you're my clothes.
I wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody knows the soil so fertile. If a man sit down naked, the seeds might grow. A delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One is you I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep talking it out the root. Make country flowers in it, farm it up. Make country produce in it, farm it up. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say so a man resembling one of the politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who talking up me country.
Welcome back to the Rebuttal, and we're going to close out just about now. So we had 2 murders in one night the other night. And I don't like to talk about these things because I personally don't know how to solve it. I think that what the government has done has worked to some extent, but I don't think it was a smart decision. I don't think it's a sustainable solution, but it has worked so far. I just hope that the murders do not pick up a trend. I've always said that if I'm going to pay for there not to be any murders, there should be no murders. And so I'm just hoping. I saw something the other day about the solar systems that are about to be put into St. Kitts. And my understanding of what I was reading suggests that those solar systems should actually cost half of what they're going to cost us. So I'm expecting to hear further ventilation on that matter. I always know that some teething would go on in that. Anytime you see those kind of projects, money pass. That's all I'm saying. Money pass. I'm also worried that up until now, the Old Road Bay Road is still not completed. Still not completed. Somebody ain't got to explain how anybody could have made any money from that, except that there were new money put in. And once new money is put in, you don't know who getting what. And the third thing I want to talk about before I close out this evening is the issue of the Bank of Nevis buying Royal Bank. You see, ordinarily when you find these types of transactions, what would happen is you would make the existing employees redundant or you give them a package, you see. But if you make them redundant, they would get a severance. And you could rehire them if you want. If you give them a package, there's a good chance you're not going to rehire them. Alright? But none of that was done, I'm told, in this instance. And so it means that somebody jacked the employees of Royal Bank. You didn't give them what ordinarily they would have gotten. I don't understand, because you see, for that to happen, it had to have the blessing of the Prime Minister's office. And I don't understand how it is that this government just think it ain't supposed to treat its employees correctly. Why is it you don't feel you're supposed to pay them the severance that they are entitled to? That is unfortunate. You see, because you might say, oh, it's a small group of people. But what you don't realize is that you are messing with so many small groups of people that it added up. You realize that? You see, because you always think that come election, you could come with a big plan, a big program that would entice people. You already bought the last election. The COVID was in your favor, and so you feel that next time there will be something that favors you. But I'm hoping that people's memories would be solid, would be lucid when it comes up to the next election. Because you ain't treat them right, you ain't treat the people right. And that is what we get for voting for people who has not delivered a plan of action before the election. You got away with a lot of things the last election. I don't know that you will get away with them come a next election. I am going to close here, and then we'll chit-chat again next week. So I want you all to have a beautiful Wednesday evening, and take care of yourselves. Be blessed. See you all.
Yes, that's the man Big Lies again. 2020 Virtual Carnival. With me and Mark Wattley. How you doing, my boy? I hear Neve is nice. Ma'am, my Neve is friend, ma'am. Jamie, share the live, share the live. Just one Facebook live session served to capture the nation's attention. This surprise reaction points to a thirst for information. Whenever there is rumor, one has to counter. Balance and truth always matter. When it's your reputation that's called into question, silence is never an option. We want to know, Timo, we want to know why you continue to undermine Maxo. We want to know, Timo, we want to know. Are you subtly telling Nevis they got to go? Tell us why should they accept your ongoing disrespect? Always interfering without informing. You well know that Mark is in charge, but you think you're larger than large. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. Calypso, man. They're gonna try all kind of things. They have their bully people on Facebook, hiding behind all kind of fake profiles. But tell them we don't grade them. Hey, paying them all kind of money. You use your bully pulpit, trying your very best to discredit, calling into question many a person's reputation. Honest men and women have been made to defend their good reputation, while on social media, persons of dishonor spreading lies and propaganda. So we want to know, we want to know why you, Wallace and Andre does lie so. We want to know, Timo, we want to know where exactly did their campaign money go? Your threat of legal action was just a mere distraction, meanwhile hoping that we will forget about the money. But when we see your portfolio of property start to overflow, how did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. Yeah, man! Kyssfm! Franklin Brand, Gene Conda, what going on? Saman Dwyer, ungratefulness, worse than witchcraft. When one looks at your history, it's clear you have issues with loyalty, because while in opposition, where did you turn for inspiration? I could well remember Franklin Brand and Gene Conda making sure you were looked after. But since you came to power, you have nothing to offer. Now it's just you, family and brother. So we want to know, Timo, we want to know how on earth you turn ungrateful soul. We want to know, Timo, we want to know. Not even Dwyer you consult anymore. Suddenly you don't like Sam, no respect, you don't give a damn. Ever since you arrived, you don't care if he survive. Forgetting those who help you up, that's the way ingratitude stop. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. Kyssfm, man. Sharon Rattan, I want to say thanks a million. Save the country a lot of money. But we need answers. We need to know about the severance money. I have one simple question. Please, Timo, can you tell the nation about their severance money? Is it being managed responsibly? Cause I hear in a rumor about a certain fella and a former labor commissioner. Is it true that the quick action from Sharon Rattan save the country 1.2 million? We want to know, Timo, we want to know why you protecting Andre Liverstone. We want to know, Timo, we want to know just how far are you willing to go to shield him from any attack? Have you pledged to have his back? Are you just protecting or saving your own skin? Some of the things I hear you would do, Mr. PM, I hope that ain't true. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know. How did you get so, Mr. Timo? We want to know why. Hey, some man, we're asking hard questions. Remember, share the life, share the life, share the life. Hey, so Abonati Studio. Abonati.